Van Ommen fastest in the fine, but Scotland's Dario Franchitti is alongside him on the front row. Behind the two Mercedes, J.J. Nato in an Opel, and last year's champion for Mercedes, Bernd Schneider. Well, it's a dank, cold and drizzly day here at the Nürburgring, but that hasn't dampened the crowd's spirits at all. And they're looking forward to seeing a fine performance from the Mercedes at the front, a repeat of the Opel Mercedes battles of Hockenheim, but already there are problems for Alfa Romeo. Two of their cars, Giancarlo Fisichella's and Alessandro Nannini's, have been disqualified for using illegal fuel in practice, so they're not on the starting line at all. But the field coming round with the hooters going in the grandstands, they come up to the rolling start. The fourth car has pulled off. Now the lights are green, and it's Franchitti who's nosing ahead in the silver car. Franchitti and then Ommen side by side, but Franchitti has the inside line as they go down to the first corner, the Castrol F. And as they go into the Castrol F, somebody is sideways in the middle of the grid and is going straight off to a huge collision. Several cars are off. The GT was the black Alfa on the right of your picture now, who seems to have started that chain reaction. But absolute carnage at the first corner. Grau's Mercedes arrives backwards. He takes with him Ludwig's Opel and Marini's Alfa. Several other cars have to take avoiding action. But the Alfa and the Opel and the Merc are still there. The race is going on. It's Dario Franchitti who is at the front on an increasingly slippery circuit. The drizzle goes on, the race goes on, and Dario Franchitti is leading Jörg Van Ommen. It's Bernd Schneider following through. The Opels of J.J. Nato and Manuel Reuter are 4th and 5th. Christian Danner, 6th for Alfa Romeo, but he's been pushed very hard indeed by Jan Magnussen in the white Mercedes, who's 7th, and Stuck pushing Magnussen in 8th place. Further back, Oliver Gavin is 12th, Jason Watt is 14th, and those bollards are going to take a smacking from somebody. Yes, they do indeed. One of the Alphas slouching one of the collapsible bollards on that tight chicane. But here come the two leading Mercedes. Dario Franchitti under pressure from Jörg Van Ommen. It's very, very cold here, but the racing is keeping us all warm as Franchitti fights to hold off Van Ommen. Schneider fights to hold off Nato and Reuter and Danner. And look at Magnussen alongside Danner. Magnussen has the inside line and squeezes by. He won't Christian Danner. Danner tries to fight back, and Stuck has a grandstand view of the whole thing. And at the front, Franchitti under pressure now. I'm waiting to see if they're going to put their wipers on, because I think it's definitely drizzling here enough to get this. Yes, there's a bit of wiper from Dario Franchitti. It's certainly pretty wet here, and I think the track is getting more and more slippery. Well, Alston and Modena finding it slippery. Uwe Alston colliding. Here we see it from inside Alston's car. Slicing Modena door handle to door handle. Yannick Delmas is in the pits. It looks as though his race is run. And still the battle going on at the front. Still the narrowest of leads for Dario Franchitti in the silver Mercedes from Van Ommen in the black one. These two cars pulling away. Schneider in third place is almost 8 seconds behind Van Ommen, with Nato and Reuter in the Opel. And Van Ommen pushing very hard now. He's looking for a little mistake for Dario Franchitti, and there is a mistake for Franchitti. Franchitti gets sideways. Van Ommen's alongside. Franchitti's on the inside for the next left-hander, but Van Ommen cuts the door, takes the lead. Franchitti tries to fight back on the right-hander that follows, but Van Ommen is through, and he is going to hang on to that lead now. Dario Franchitti clinging onto the back of Van Ommen's car. Both of these cars identical in specifications, differing only in colour, differing only in the driver. Both of them 500 horsepower, and a real handful on this slippery circuit, because remember, the Mercedes are only two-wheel drive, the Opels and Alphas have four-wheel drive. And we've got an Opel in the pit lane. This is Uwe Alston coming in, apparently for a stop-go penalty. I would guess that could well have something to do with the collision that he had earlier with Stefano Modena. Now, J.J. Nato is battling with Jan Magnussen. He's got the Opel ahead of Magnussen. Four-wheel drive versus two-wheel drive on this very slippery circuit. And as they start the last lap, Manuel Reuter has passed Bernd Schneider. Again, an Opel passes a Mercedes as they go down to that first F. And you can see that Schneider is grappling for grip with the Mercedes. He fights back, he's charging up alongside Reuter. He's trying to get that place back, but it's very, very slippery indeed for the big Mercedes. The sleek little Opel with its four-wheel drive has got more grip. Behind them, JJ Leto and Jan Magnussen are having a similar battle. It's Opel versus Mercedes 1-4. The crowd are cheering them on. This is the battle for third place. Reuter is third. Schneider wants his third place back, and the Opel is visibly quicker through the corners with its four-wheel drive. When they get on the straight, the Mercedes seems to have more steam. They're pounding up the hill back towards us. The Opel flicks across the left, then right, hitting the curve, and the Mercedes is almost at his boot lid. Now Schneider moves across to the right. Reuter moves to the right to try to block him. Then to the left-hander that follows. And almost forgotten, Van Ommen is going to win the race. The black Mercedes of Van Ommen goes towards the checkered flag into the final chicane, clipping the curbs. In fact, not very many of those bollards left now. There is Dario Franchitti, who's going to finish second as they come into the final corner. A Mercedes-Benz 1 and 2. Van Ommen, a fine victory for him. Takes the checkered flag. Cheers from the Mercedes-Benz pit. There is Dario Franchitti finishing second. And Leto has got clear of Magnussen, and Stuck's inside Magnussen now. At the final corner, Hans Stuck gets inside Magnussen, and another Opel versus Mercedes battle is resolved right on the finish line. So, Mercedes 1 and 2 for Van Ommen and Franchitti. Reuter did get that third place from Schneider. Leto 5th, Stuck 6th, and Magnussen demoted to 7th. And for Dario Franchitti, that one mistake probably cost him victory.
I made a mistake on the third corner. I think Jorg was a lot quicker through the second corner, put me under some pressure in the third corner, and I moved my brake balance back to try and get rid of some of the understeer, but it then caused oversteer and I lost the back end a little bit. Lucky to keep it on the track.
So before the teams can get ready for the second race here at the Nürburgring, there's a lot of clearing up to do, a lot of wounded cars to be brought back to the pit for some major rebuilds. Meanwhile, we're going to turn our attention to Formula 3000. This year, a single-make championship, everyone using Lolas with the Zytec Judd engine. Fastest throughout practice and qualifying, the Swede Penny Brack in the Supernova Lola, run by Britain's David Spears. So he's on pole, and it's his own teammate, Marcos Gueros, who is alongside him. It's a very international formula. The 26 cars on the grid have drivers from a dozen countries. On the second row, Laurent Rodin from France and Jörg Müller from Germany. A traditional start, red light, then green, the grid moves away, and Penny Brack made a good start. It's Penny Brack taking the lead, Gueros is slower away. It's Jörg Müller of Germany who moves up into second place. From fourth place on the grid, Anton Christensen from Denmark in the green and white car coming through, but several cars have collided. There are several cars off on the inside, a flurry of gravel, absolute mayhem. Several of the midfield cars have been involved, and I don't know quite what happened there, but there was a car coming down the inside from pretty low on the grid. We'll see it again perhaps, but at the front, it's Penny Brack who's making hay while the sun shines. A lot of wreckage to be cleared. Penny Brack is the leader. It's Jörg Müller who's chasing him in second place. In third place, it's Gueros. Tom Christensen is in fourth place. And here's a replay. Looks to me as though Guillaume Gomez was coming down the inside. He took off his fellow Frenchman David Dufin and Italy's Thomas Biaggi and Gaston Mazzacani of Argentina. The rest having to drive through the mud and dirt on the road, but now a collision between Peter Olsen and Carl Rosenblad, both of Sweden. Olsen coming down the inside. Watch his left front hit Rosenblad's right rear. He spins Rosenblad round. Rosenblad is clearly out of the race. Peter Olsen carries on. And this is the battle for third place between Gueros and Christensen. But the Japanese Akira Iida has had an accident up here. He's left his front nose wing and some bollards in the road, and Gueros has hit them. Christensen managed to avoid most of the debris, but I think the front wing on Gueros' car is damaged, as they come onto the start-finish line. Yes, the left-hand front wing of Guerros's car is pointing skywards, and that will not help the handling of that Supernova Lola one little bit, and that's perhaps good news for Christensen, who's now struggling to get closer. This is the battle for third place. Still Kenny Brack way out in front, still Jörg Müller in a lonely second place. And we see it again, the front wing and the bollard still in the road from Ieda's accident, and it's actually the right-hand wing that hits the bollard on Guerros's car, but it seems, yes, the left-hand wing is pointing upwards, the right hand is pointing downwards and almost dragging on the road, and Christensen's getting very close indeed. He's poising himself for a challenge, as there is Kenny Brack on his way to the checkered flag. Kenny Brack and Supernova starting their 1996 Formula 3000 season with a conclusive win. Jörg Müller will be second on his home circuit, but what about this battle for third place between Gueros and Christensen? Gueros has still got that third place, despite the fact that his nose section seems almost to be falling off. They're in the final corner now. It's Gueros, and Christensen goes wide. They go for the checkered flag, and it's Gueros in third place. Christensen finishes fourth, but the winner, quite clearly, Kenny Brack of Sweden for Supernova. So, confirmation of the results, and as the top three, Brack, Müller and Gueros, celebrate on the podium, we'll take a break before the second ITC race here at the Nürburgring. Welcome back to the Nürburgring. And a lot of hard work's gone on since the carnage of the earlier race. Most of the cars mended, the field lined up in the finishing order of the previous race. So we've got Van Ommen and Franchitti on the front row. Nicola Larini starting from the pit lane. The lights are red as the field comes down to the start-finish line. They're green. The Mercedes working away with Manuel Reuter trying to go between them. And they're 5 abreast as they come down the hill into the Castrol chicane. 6 abreast even, but weaving under braking is Franchitti who's got the lead. It's Reuter who's pushed and squeezed over the curb, but he's still there. Van Ommen in second. Reuter has that third place, so it's Mercedes 1 and 2, it's Opel 3, and further back, Oliver Gavin making up places nicely, battling with Bernd Schneider. We're riding with Bartels. He's hit Wurz. In front of them, Gavin and Schneider are colliding. Now Wurz is on Schneider's tail. Wurz gets alongside Schneider. They're side by side. Wurz goes ahead as they go down the straight. Who's going to break first? And it's Schneider who breaks first. Bartels goes ahead. They're jockeying for positions 3 and 4 abreast. This is real ITC battling at its best. But at the front, Dario Franchitti, the Scot, has the lead, weaving around with the Mercedes. Manuel Reuter in second place for Opel. It's Hans Stuck who's third for Opel. And there's a battle at every point of the circuit. They're nose to tail, they're running over the bollards, they're side by side. Now it's Bartels and Danner, and just behind them, Oliver Gavin has a perfect view of the 2 Alfa Romeos elbowing each other. Danner goes wide, Gavin goes alongside, and at the front, there's a change of lead because Manuel Reuter's got to run down the inside of Dario Franchitti, and they collide. Franchitti's back again. Behind them, Stuck is challenging. They're 3 abreast for the lead. Stuck and Reuter collide, and keep going. Reuter gets in front. Stuck gets second place. Dario Franchitti is demoted to third. JJ Leto is there as well for fourth. 4 cars battling over the lead, and look at the crowd. They love Reuter, they love Opel. They've got Opel first and second. Dario Franchitti, the Scot, down to third. JJ Leto's Opel is fourth. Action all the way down the field. Look, that's Stefano Modena offline. I don't know how he wasn't hit by the Mercedes following. He's harmlessly off into the infield. He's out of the race. And now that's Klaus Ludwig who's running wide in the Opel. And it's Opel's 1, 2, 3 because Leto's past Franchitti. Mercedes 4. And that's Bartels spinning now. And Wurz hit him as well. Wurz's car is damaged, but Bartels has spun. We're travelling in the car with him, or we're not travelling because he's come to a halt. He's stuck in the gravel, and Bartels is out. Now it's Oliver Gavin versus Jason Watt. They're side by side. Gavin elbows his way back. Watt comes back, but Oliver Gavin passed Jason Watt there, and Jason Watt didn't like it at all. There's a lot of damage on a lot of these cars now. The flag's waving, they're cheering them on. We've now got Franchitti dropping another place because there's an Alfa Romeo up to 4th. That must be Tarquini. So Tarquini is now 4th. Further back, Jason Watt is blocking Uwe Alphen, and Alphen doesn't like it at all. He's weaving from side to side, but the white Alfa Romeo is still ahead of the yellow Opel. 3 Opels and an Alfa at the front. And now a challenge for Dario Franchitti because Van Ommen is on the inside of him. Van Ommen goes down inside Franchitti and takes him. So, early leader Franchitti clearly not happy with his Mercedes in these slippery conditions, but it's Opel ahead of Mercedes at the moment, and indeed an Alfa Romeo up in 4th place. 2 more Alfas coming through. There is Nicola Larini, who started from the pit lane and has done a tremendous job of moving up, but coming now down the inside, that's Bernd Schneider. Bernd Schneider past Wurz, and Wurz is trailing bodywork. There's been some accident damage at the back of that Opel as Jason Watt and Uwe Alphen continue their battle, and Alphen does it at last. Alphen passes Jason Watt. Meanwhile, in front of them, what's going on? Because Gavin has run into the back of Wurz. Damage to the front of Wurz's car, but also, I think, to the back. And that looked to me as though Gavin left his braking too late. There is Oliver Gavin off the circuit with damage to the front of his car. And here's a replay. Gavin leaves his braking late. He hits the back of Wurz's car. Wurz goes across the chicane and damages the front of his car on the bollards. Both of those cars, I'm sure, are out. And here we see it again with Wurz hitting the bollards. Oliver Gavin following him. The front of Gavin's Opel very badly damaged indeed. And meanwhile at the front, Reuter still leads, but Leto and Stuck are side by side for 2nd place, and Stuck has gone through, demoting Leto to 3rd place. Still Tarquini in 4th place, and in for a stop-go penalty comes Wurz. I don't know if that is because of the incident that he just had. The battle going on at the front. Reuter, the leader. Stuck now a charging 2nd, charging in fact over the curbs, gets it back onto the tarmac. JJ Leto is still 3rd, the Alfa of Tarquini 4th, being dropped a little bit by the flying trio of Opels, but Stuck absolutely charging, and Stuck determined to close. There's a black flag for somebody. I think that black flag must be for Wurz. Now, there's a replay of the stop-go penalty, and one of the mechanics was working on the front of the car, tearing off damaged bodywork. You're not allowed to do any work on the car when you have a stop-go penalty. He is black flagged, but look at this. We have a new leader. Hans Stuck has got in front. Hans Stuck has caught and passed Manuel Reuter. Leto is very close as well in 3rd place. It's Opel, 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 but Manuel Reuter has lost the lead to Hans Stuck. He's such a popular man here in Germany. The 3 of them storming through the chicane. The crowd are absolutely ecstatic with delight. This is how he did it. A very clean, neat move on that fast left-hander, and Reuter had to let him go. And the 4th place Alfa now being challenged by the charging Dane, Kurt Tim, who goes inside. Kurt Tim gets a Mercedes up into the top 4, demotes the Alfa to 5th place. Opel, 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 Mercedes, Alfa, Mercedes. But what happened to Hans Stuck? Hans Stuck is smoking, Hans Stuck is slowing. There's a lot of smoke at the back of Hans Stuck's car. He's moving across to the left. He's got his door open. He's parking the car. He's got the door, and that car is on fire. That car is really on fire. Hans Stuck has stopped. He scrambles out. He runs back, and dismay in the Opel pit. And Hans Stuck, a tremendous drive up to the lead, and it's all come to naught. The Opel guys can't believe it, and Hans Stuck's car is put out by the fire marshals. It's still Opel's 1 and 2. Manuel Reuter has the lead back, but JJ Leto isn't content. JJ Leto attacking him. Reuter leads by about a foot as they come onto the start-finish straight, using every inch of the tarmac and the curbs. Over the start-finish line they go. Reuter the leader. JJ Leto close enough to challenge. Is he going to pull out of the slipstream as they come down to the Castrol corner? He doesn't do so. Manuel Reuter clips the curb, right, then left, and And that is the remains of poor Hans Stuck's car, covered with fire extinguisher powder. 21 hundredths of a second was Reuter's lead over Leto as they crossed the start-finish line. Van Ommen is third. Tim is in fourth place. And still the Opel battle on. But that's Van Ommen closing. Van Ommen has been storming up the field. There's his fastest lap of the day. Van Ommen, the fastest man on the track, but he's off. Van Ommen straight off. A tremendous attack has brought him up to third place, but he's gone off the circuit. We've also got Kurt Tim in the pits. So the Mercedes challenge falling to bits again. Kurt Tim frustrated and upset. Reuter leads, therefore, Leto second, Magnussen third. This is the battle for fourth. It's Tarquini being challenged by Alpsen. Schneider and Marini are following. Tarquini still has the Alfa in fourth place, but not for long because Alpsen is charging. Alpsen slides wide, almost takes Tarquini with him, but he's got the place. And now behind them, Schneider is challenging. Alpsen has that fourth place. It's Tarquini fifth, it's Schneider sixth, and Nicola Marini has done a great job to close up on that trio. Remember, he started dead last from the pits, and Alpsen didn't have very much room to go through in that gap. He got through. Here's Manuel Reuter now. Manuel Reuter comes through the final corner of the lap. The checkered flag is waiting. Manuel Reuter will score his second win out of 4 starts. The flag for Reuter. Another victory for Opel, with J.J. Leto finishing second and Jan Magnussen taking third place. That great battle for fourth place. Here it comes. They're all 4 of them tied together, but it's Alpsen from Tarquini, from Schneider and Marini. And there's Dario Franchitti finishing 8th. A great win for Manuel Reuter from Leto and Magnussen. Manuel Reuter has now scored 2 firsts and 2 thirds. He's been on the podium in every race so far this year. And not surprisingly, that means he is at the head of the championship table. 64 points for Reuter, 51 for Magnussen, 41 for Schneider. And from Germany, we move on to Portugal for event 3 at Estoril. See you there.